All right, so let me go over number 8 again with you guys because there's a little typo today. As you know, my screen got interrupted with my cat, and so let's redo number 8. Okay, so I think there might have been something that I wrote incorrectly on the whiteboard. So again, we have a ship that leaves port. It travels due west at 45 nautical miles. So here's our port, and it's going to go due west at 45 miles. Okay. All right. The ship then changes course south 35 degrees west and travels 60 more nautical miles. So at this point, it's going to change course from south, right? I'm going to go 35 degrees. So roughly there's 35 degrees. And it's going to be a little bit, this segment's going to be a little bit longer than this segment because it's 60 miles, okay? All right, now, it says find the bearing back to the port departure and the shortest distance back to the port, okay? So right here, the ship is down here, and it's going to go back. You know, the shortest distance between 2 points would be this distance right here. Okay, so that part, there was no mistake or anything, right? And we're trying to find D. And the way I did it in class was I call this, you know, I form a right triangle, right, without using the law of cosine. So I believe I called this X, and I think I called this guy right here Y, right? Okay, so let's kind of figure out what all the angles that we know. If from here to here is 35, right, this guy right here would be 55 degrees because, hey, this is a 90-degree angle, okay? So again, 90 minus 35 will give you 55. And if this angle right here is 35, that means this angle right here is 35, right? And so you have all the angles in this right triangle. And so the way you figure out what D is, right, you would say, hey, the distance from here to here is X plus 45. Okay, and you would use your Pythagorean theorem, right? You would say D squared is equal to, you know, X plus 45 squared plus Y squared. And the next step is to figure out what X and Y are. And so, again, there's no typo here, I don't think. I'm going to use the sine ratio. Sine of 55, right, is opposite over hypotenuse, y over 60. Remember, this guy right here is 60, so y over 60. And so if you get y by itself, y is equal to 60 sine 55. And if you want to figure out what x is, right, you could say cosine of 55 is equal to x over 60. Okay, so just think of this right triangle right here that I'm getting these trig ratios right here. Okay, and x is 60 cosine of 55. Okay, so no error on this as far as I can see. And, you know, if you want to solve for what D is right now, you could just plug it in to your Pythagorean theorem. So 60 cosine of 55 plus 45 squared, and then plus your y value, which is 60 sine 55 squared. Okay, so if you enter this on your calculator, you're going to get approximately 93.39. And that is your distance. Okay, so up until this point, I don't think there was any mistakes that were made. All right, so the mistake that was made in class is, you know, the other part of the question is asking you to find the bearing. So in order for me to find the bearing, right, I need to know what this angle is, right? And we'll call this angle that I drew an arrow, we'll call that beta. Okay, we'll call it beta. And now I need to focus on the big right triangle, okay? The big right triangle. So I already know that y is 60 sine 55, right? If you want to enter that on your calculator, you can. And so what I think I wrote in class was, you know, cosine of beta, right? Again, focus on the big right triangle, the big one. If I can highlight it here with you. is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the adjacent side is 60 sine 55, right? And the hypotenuse is not 60. The hypotenuse is 93.39. That's where I think that's what I miswrote in class. Okay, so just focus on this. And then if you take the cosine inverse of this, you will get the correct answer. Okay, so your beta is approximately equal to 58.24. Okay, 58.24. So you could just write 58.24 degrees, or, you know, you could say nor 58.24 degrees east. Okay, so again, keep in mind, this is what I think I wrote 60 in class for the denominator. And I think Alan, pointed that out. So please take a look and make a correction to your notes.